Hello everyone, welcome to chapter 130 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. It is the weekend edition, and in the weekend edition, we're going to make some changes to my thickness planer. So, if you want to see what's going to happen, all you have to do is stay tuned. Well, there it is. This is my basket case thickness planer. A friend of mine and I dragged this out of a school in our division 20 years ago, and it was in 2 or 3 baskets. They had wore out the bushings on the roller ends, and everything piled up, and the roller shafts broke, and my buddy, unfortunately, he's since passed away, but we went down there to look at it, and when the teacher that was trying to sell it to me walked away, had to go do something else, I looked at him and said, "Can we fix this?" And he just smiled and said, "Oh yeah." So yeah, here it is, and with his guidance, I repaired the shafts and did it all myself. Eventually I had to add the neoprene rollers to it, but it has been a good thickness planer. One of the things that I did, though, when I bought this machine and got it running, was my shop was not set up properly at all. Not that what I have now is proper, but I am to the point where most of my machines have a dedicated spot. So in the early days when I got into this place and we were still framing, I needed to be able to move everything around. So I put these casters on this machine. And they work okay, but they're not really, in my opinion, high quality casters. They lock the wheel, so the wheel won't rotate, but the whole wheel will still spin under the machine. And what that allows the machine to do is move several inches in an orbit, which is really annoying when you're trying to feed stock into it. So in this weekend edition, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those wheels out from under this and actually replace the wheels with some hardwood blocks. It isn't the prettiest of modifications that I've ever made, but it is going to make this machine stable. And that is really important because I've noticed my students having to hold the machine at times, and I just don't like that. The other major problem that movement is causing is moving around with the dust collection. Yes, there's a flexible connection here and it works, but I don't like things pulling on it and yanking on it. So we're going to make this machine stationary. Now, that being said, if I had a modern mobile base on this machine, I really like the mobile bases. In fact, my thickness sander is still on a mobile base, and if my shop was clean, you could actually see it. But it's one of those with 2 solid wheels at one end, and at the other end you can drop it down, and it's solid. Whereas this machine is not solid. The only other thing that I have on wheels in here, and you gotta excuse my messy shop, I'm just not good at cleaning things up in between here, but my Laguna lathe, in the early years when I owned it, I went out and made a set of wheels for it. So I made it. It actually works really well. I kind of copied a design I saw on the internet, but it works really good. So today, like I said, I've got some hardwood blocks, not all the same species as you'll see, but what I need to do is this height from the floor, where's my finger? From the floor to the bottom of here is not quite 5 inches. I'm going to keep that. In fact, I'm going to make it exactly 5 inches. And what that does is these rollers here are the same height as the deck on my table saw. So I know this doesn't make a lot of sense either. And right now, it makes no sense because everything's in the way. If I'm ripping a full sheet, and let's say it's I'm taking 16 inches or whatever, I can rest the far side of the sheet on the thickness planer until I can get things settled. So it does help me when I rip. So I want to keep that height. So, and also for using it, I guess it's not too bad. When I hang my fingers down, I can just touch the top of it. So it's kind of high enough that I can use the machine without bending over. If I wasn't tying my height to the table saw, I would actually raise it a couple more inches. But I made a nice hardwood piece here. Like, this is stock Makita, that's what it came with. And I made this and put a chamfered edge on it and all that cool stuff. The feet I'm putting on are going to be a lot simpler than that. So that's what I need to do. I need to glue up 4 blocks and get this build going. Well, these are 2 pieces of hardwood that I'm going to glue together. This is a piece of birch, and this is some piece of 4x4 oak that I had lying around. And anytime I can get rid of a piece and use it productively and not have to store it any longer is a win for me. So this is going to get glued to that like that. And I believe that gives me just over 5 inches, but let's just double check that. Yeah, it's about 5.5. You'll notice they're not even on the sides yet either. I'll trim that down after they're glued. If I mess up a little bit with gluing, it doesn't matter. I'll just trim it accordingly. Now here I have one glued together already, and this is out of birch. I used some really poor birch that I had lying around, trying to use up some scraps and trying to make this cheap and efficient. So this is what it's going to look like. I think what I'm going to do is cut the front, or where the 4 corners that are going to stick out from under the machine. Those are going to be cut off straight up and down. When I walk around the machine, I don't want anything that I can stub my toe on or whatever. I don't want anything slanting out. Now on the back, we may get a bit fancier. We may kind of cut a curve here and make it look pretty. But that's what it's going to be. Yeah, I didn't use high quality hardwood for this. And in this one, I didn't even use 2 pieces of the same species. I thought originally that maybe what I would do is paint them or whatever. But you know what? I'm just going to put wipe on poly on here. And you know what? It's going to be hardwood. That's going to be the look that it's going to have, and it's going to look somewhat unique. So now this isn't quite the way I normally glue, but as long as I've got good glue on both pieces, I'm not terribly worried about it. These clamps that I bought, of course you can guess where, it's all Princess Auto stuff. Their clamps, I have to tell you, are not the best. They're cheap, and if that works for you, sometimes I wish I had a little better clamps. And maybe one thing that I will do in my shop as I get more and more into my retirement here is, as these cheap clamps break or are kind of at the end of their useful life, I might replace them with better ones. I'm not sure yet. I might just keep repairing the old ones. I don't know. But yeah, I want to have that pretty straight. This, if it hangs over both sides, it doesn't really matter that much to me now. It'll just mean more work for me a little later. But there are only 4 of these things, so it's not a big deal. But yeah. Okay, come on, let's go. There we go. Okay, we're just about there. There we go. And once we get them glued together, I have the other 3 done already. Then what we'll do is we'll come back in the evening. You can see the sun is still shining in my window, but it's getting close to supper time, so it won't be that way for much longer. So the one thing I don't like about these clamps is when the handles are close together and upright like this, they are really hard to operate. I might figure out something else for that yet. There we go. Yeah, I can live with that. The hole in the wood here, again, I think I can live with that. We'll just leave it like that, and it'll be good. So anyway, that takes care of that. So I think what I'm going to do now is head in for a bite to eat, and after supper we'll come out here and keep working on this. So anyway, we will see you a little bit later. And it's time to get this all leveled off and organized, so here we go. And now let's cut them to width. And now we're going to cut the height. So this is set to just a little bit over 5 inches. Okay, here we go. Okay, and now we've got 3 sides planed. Now we're going to join 1 pass off the bottom yet, and they should all be about the same. So here we go. And that's that. Well, I cut a little pattern. That's what they're going to look like. This is going to be on the in-feed side and the out-feed side, so I don't trip over it like I mentioned earlier. And then this is, you got to get a little fancy, eh? So anyway, we're going to, I've got one traced here, we're going to cut that out. Not cut perfectly, but it's going to be good enough. Now I've got another 3 to cut, and then I'll bring you back when I'm sanding. And kind of the last step on these, I'm not going to, overdo the finish on these. I'm just going to roughly sand them a little bit. This is 80 grit on my drum sander here. So, and I'm not going to turn the dust collection on because then you won't be able to hear anything. So here we go. I think that's plenty good enough. I think that's good. I don't know, I might go over them a little bit with random orbital yet, but I'm not sure. Maybe just ease the edges off a little bit, but I think the next step that you might see is me putting them on. So we just keep on going. Well, I've got them all smoothed out and my fancy cutaway cut out here and sanded. This is only sanded to 80 grit. I don't think I'm going to bother with any more. It's just wasting time. What I am going to do though, and I thought of this overnight, is I am going to just round over these front edges. They are quite sharp. So I did one already just to test it, so we're going to do the others here. And I'm going to bring you in a little closer for that. And there we go. Well, not that I'm that concerned about the way they look. Obviously, there are cracks in it, but I think once I get my thickness planer on these blocks, all those little imperfections won't be seen anyway. So I am going to throw on just a couple coats of wipe on poly on here, just to make them look a little prettier, but it's not that big a deal. Yeah, I've wanted to do this for quite a while. I just haven't got to it. But last week with my student group over here, we're starting to do a bit more planing again, and yeah, it was time. So I put lots of this stuff on. Nice thing about wipe on poly, it's almost impossible to mess up, other than me getting it on my table here. And I shouldn't be doing this on my table saw, but I don't know if you can see it in this video, but my other table is kind of full. So I actually like these oak ones. I kind of reluctantly used them because I thought, well, okay, they're not all going to look the same. But then I thought of other discussions I've heard in woodworking over the years. And by the way, this blue towel is no good for this either. And people debating whether all the legs on a table needed to be exactly the same. And I'm still kind of one of those that thinks, yeah, they probably should be. But this is a shop piece. It's not going to sit in my house or anything like that. So another thing that I consider doing is I have some thin rubber backing with a self-adhesive on it, and I thought of putting it underneath here. But I'm wondering if that would maybe become too grippy. I think I'm going to put them on just like this today, and then we'll use it. And if in the future I decide that it needs to be done, I'll do it then. But anyway, the others that I have are just the same thing over and over. So I don't think we need to see all that. So we'll move on to the next section. Well, I don't know if it's a mistake, but I was under the impression that these were 3.5 inches wide, and I thought I measured one of those. It was 3.5 inches wide, and it turns out I've got this block is a little wider than the attachments that I'm adding it to. So I thought what would make it look nice is just to match the chamfer that I put on the other one. So I have my router with a chamfer bit here. We're just going to make sure I get the right side. Yes, that's back, outside. So this and this get done. Okay, here we go. Well, it's a little bit of a burn mark, but this bit's, I guess, a bit dull, and I went a bit slow. But that's going to do it. We're going to screw those on. Well, I've got 3 of the 4 on. I just thought I'd show you the last one. What I did is I just used a piece of scrap wood as a lever, pried it up, slid one of these blocks underneath because there's such good support there. And then I just went underneath and, like I'm doing now, take the old caster off. Now, I would have bought these, boy, in the early 2000s. I think I've had this planer that long. So I'll just keep going here. I think I'll use these wheels. I have another project in mind that I've kind of been keeping from you, but I have to get some other things done first. So we'll just maybe sit on that a little while longer. I wonder if I'm going the wrong way. I always get mixed up when I am working on something, like on the underside of something. I tend to get my righty-tighty, lefty-loosey mixed up, but there it is, it's off. Okay, so now I'm just going to slide this underneath, and it's got pretty good balance. So remember that routed edge? Ouch, that hurt. That, I just need to line that up so that's visible. And that should be flush with the inside. And there it is. Okay, so we're going to drill a countersunk hole here. Now I'm putting in, I believe, these are 2.5-inch screws, and they're going, I'd say, about 1 inch into the block. But I might change some of these out. I have some longer screws. I want to make sure that this doesn't come apart. So here we go. There we go. Ah, perfect. You can't see it, so I can say that, whether it is or not. You might notice that there's really a lack of finish on this one. This was that cracked up one, and I gave it a healthy dose of super glue and sanded the super glue off. So I have to put, I'll have to put more finish on these feet anyway yet. And I think 3 screws per. Is going to be good. Oh yeah, that's nice. I don't know, it's just a little detail there. It makes me happy. Don't know if it's of any value to anything. And I want to make sure this screw stays in the meaty part, not the decorative part. So we're going to, about there will be good. There we go. Okay. All right, and that's that. I'm going to blow the dust off of here, put a little bit more finish on, and bring you back and show you how it works. Well, that's it. I am really happy with this. it's nice and firm, and yet if I put a little more pressure, I can pick it up, I can drag it a little bit. Not that I'm assuming that I'm going to have to, but I love it. It's way better than it was. And now this is going to all stay in place instead of being, and this tape here has come loose too. So I'll retape it now that it's not going to move. And oh yeah, that is definitely a win. So, well, in fact, let's just check one more thing out here. I think I'm a little bit higher than what I had said I would be. I believe the table saw is 35. I'm a healthy 35 and a half. That doesn't matter to hold the corner of the sheet up because I'll be lifting it anyway. So, plus it's comfortable to work with. And on that note, let's fire it up. So I've got a lot of mess on the floor here. You'll have to excuse that, but wearing my trusty remote. And I love it. It stays in place. You know, I think it's pretty much level. It maybe just if I play on it, I can get it to wiggle just a little bit. Maybe my feet aren't quite perfect in height. Another thing I noticed too is that board that I'm attaching to, like this one here. I don't know if you can see that. This one here has over the years twisted a little bit as well, because the 2 feet on this end actually are kind of like this when you look at them from the end. Of course, I'm exaggerating that, but in the end, I don't think it matters. I don't even mind the oak pieces down here. I think they look good. They add some character to it. But this is definitely a win. Now, should you take all the wheels off your equipment? And no, that isn't what this was about. This was about addressing a need and a small safety concern that I noticed when I was working with my students. And also the wear and tear on my piping, which I don't have done yet, got me thinking that I should do this. I've had this in my head for quite a while, but like I say, when your kids are here and they're working, that's when things become more relevant. So another project I need to tackle yet, I need to get my 3rd table mounted router up and running, but that's just, I think that's just a bit more work than I have time to do right now. I'll probably start on it, and who knows, maybe I'll take you along for that one. Oh, by the way, the chair that I designed, the rocking chair, I have a curved arm piece that goes right down to the curved rocker. I have the jig made for that as well. I made it exactly the same as the other one, and I'm anticipating it'll work well. The other thing I think we'll do is we'll maybe go a wee bit thinner with our slats. I bet you 3/16 would be the magic number. Okay? Anyway, well, that brings this video to a close. This was fun to do. I got to work with wood, but not high-end stuff. I had cracks in it and whatever. It worked. But I like working with high-end too, don't get me wrong. But this was a nice little, basically a Saturday project. I started Friday evening, and it's almost coffee time on Saturday now. So I'll edit it today, get it out today, and then chapter 130 is posted. A couple of things. We are getting dangerously close to 500 subscribers. I'm in the 480s somewhere. So that then we'll draw for Frosty. I have to figure out a way to do that. I think I know what I'm going to do. There'll be a video where I do it. So that way you can kind of rest assured that you know, there wasn't any funny stuff going on that if you were the one that was furthest away, you didn't get it because I had to ship it there. Like, that's fine, I'll ship it to you. So once I do the draw, I'll get in touch with those people and find their mailing address, and we'll get that out to you as soon as we can. I'm hoping that Frosty's out of my house within the next month. Yeah, well, I'm hoping I had 500 in like 2 weeks, but yeah. Anyway, I'm wearing a different smock. I think I mentioned it already in this video. I like these, they're hairdresser smocks, dog groomer smocks. I like them because they're light, and I don't know, this one I ordered a little bigger than I normally would, and it works really good. I want to get some screen printing done, but man, oh man, I was in Saskatoon yesterday and tried to find somebody that'll do that. So another thing I wanted was business cards, and I don't know if there's a place in Saskatoon that you can go that you can get business cards. So I ended up at Staples and had to order them online anyway. So I don't know, it's kind of sad when you drive into Saskatoon with money in your pocket, you can't get anything. So it's a frustration. But anyway, that being said, remember 500's coming up. Frosty's going to go. T-shirts, I'm working on it because I want some for myself, so this is going to happen. And I think there's been one person that's requested one, so that's awesome. But yeah, I think that's it for the weekend edition. So we will see you towards the middle of next week. So have an excellent end to the weekend and start to next week. We'll see you on the next video.